1.
Some years back, a few buddies and I started going to the park every Wednesday afternoon to shoot hoops. 5-on-5, first to 11, 1s and 2s. That way, we could take a break after each game, swap some guys around to keep things fresh, and keep playing until it was either too dark to see the rim, or we were all balled out. This is what NBA The Run feels like. There's the burst of excitement when I hit my first shot. There's the novelty of having enough players to switch it up so things don't become stale. And unfortunately, there's also the unavoidable exhaustion at the end of having played too many games, shot too many threes, and alleyed too many oops, until I need to take a complete break from it. I mean, sure, I can go again next Wednesday, but until then, I'd rather be doing something else.
Yeah, casserole!
Thankfully, something NBA The Run lacks compared to my local court is that one guy who always throws elbows. Instead, it hosts a roster of more than 30 NBA All-Stars and 5 street legends who are all masters of their craft. Trying them all out in fast 3-on-3 matches never got old, because much like in reality, each guy has certain things they're better at than others. Take Victor Wembanyama, who is, as you'd expect, an alien who can shoot, dunk, and block with his go-go gadget arms. On the shorter side, there's Stephen Curry and Damian Lillard, who can both throw it up from pretty much anywhere. And we can't forget Ja Morant, who is a highlight dunker and daring shooter like no one else.
Both your legs is your right foot and your left foot if you have a third foot.
To top it off, NBA The Run doesn't just capture each player's likeness. It also accurately mimics their signature jump shot forms, which was a very pleasant surprise. I'll be honest, having played a lot of the NBA Street Series back in the day, I was half expecting generic character movements and animations to be copied and pasted across all the different players. Instead, I've had the pleasure of seeing Book's silky smooth shot and even LaMelo Ball's unorthodox release throughout each match. All of these hardwood icons and their jumpers are playable within NBA The Run's 2 main game modes, Knockout Squads and Knockout Solos. The former is a lot like the Park in NBA 2K, where each pro in your squad of 3 is controlled by a different player, and you have to work as a team. The latter, on the other hand, lets you control all 3 of them by yourself against another person doing the same. Across all my runs, I gravitated more towards knockout squads because you just can't replicate the wild highlights, the frequent taunting from both sides, and the pure joy of winning a championship with 2 random teammates. Sadly, there's always a chance you get paired with someone who apparently doesn't know how to pass the ball. But if that happens, and it does often, the short match times make it easy enough to just chalk it up as a loss and run it back without much frustration. Look, I get that I can't just ask Kevin Durant to replace that flying elbow guy in the real world, so how about we find a new court to play on instead? You know, one that doesn't have multiple dead spots? NBA The Run has options for me here too. I may be a bit biased here, but my favorite of the 7 in-game courts is the Tenement, a small piece of my home from the heart of Manila, Philippines, now brought to the global stage. But it's not just because of nostalgia that I like this specific court. It's also because it so perfectly captures what basketball is. A spectacle that draws crowds, from the old heads who can barely walk to the youngins who stand on their tiptoes just to watch. From that towering behemoth to the concrete jungle's iconic Rucker Park, I appreciate the care and attention developer Play-by-Play Studios has put into building these courts, treating each one like the gathering and celebration of hoops that they are. If driving down to the Venice Beach court to play a few actual pickup games is out of the question, how about we switch things up with the scoring instead? Like 3 points for dunks and 1 point for threes? Although this would be a terrible idea that I would never suggest in real life because I can't dunk, it's the kind of unexpected option that makes NBA The Run tick. Different match types are selected pre-game through a roulette, and that keeps things interesting and unpredictable. Be it triple threat where 3s are 3s and everything else is only worth a single point, or another option that turns the match into a 1-to-7 contest, where every basket, whether that's a half-court shot or a flashy alley-oop, only counts as 1. It's like a box of tweets from Kevin Durant's burner accounts. You never know what you're gonna get.
Great!
Overall, the current match type rotation is a smart way of encouraging you to explore the roster instead of going all in on a single strategy every time. Can you imagine how stale it would get if you played as Anthony Edwards your whole playthrough? Or if all the games you played were a 1-to-21 1s and 2s contest? It'd be like voluntarily watching the Washington Wizards for a whole season. Sadly, there are only so many Zion Williamson 360 windmills, Trae Young half-court heaves, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander flops I can stomach by my 22nd match at the Dongdaean Sports Complex before things get old. Well, that's not all true. Flopping isn't actually a part of NBA The Run, but my overall point still stands. After winning multiple championships through a lot of highly contested matches and playing as all of the available characters across its 2 main game modes, that feeling I savored so much in my first, second, and even third championship run is long gone. This must have been what Michael Jordan felt during his second retirement with the Chicago Bulls. I'm not comparing my accomplishments to his or anything, cause I got more than 6 championships. But when you've won everything there is to win, what's left? Playing for the love of the game only works when it loves you back. And now that both sides are spent, there's little reason to stick around any longer. NBA The Run could pull me back in eventually if new content arrives in the coming weeks and months, just like MJ coming back to play for the Wizards. But at the moment, my legs are spent, my wrist is aching, and I cannot shoot, dunk, or ineffectively put my hand up any more than I already have. NBA The Run plays more like a distant descendant of the NBA Street series than a successor, which isn't a bad thing. Although the two share certain traits, like their curated roster of NBA stars and street legends, an ample rotation of carefully crafted courts, and the sultry ever-present vocals of DJ Bobbito Garcia.
Ridiculous!
The Run's core principle of online run-and-gun action over the classic single-player arcade approach makes it a much more exciting and enticing present-day package than its predecessors. Unfortunately, its emphasis on pushing you through a steady flurry of quick matches is also where its biggest weakness lies. While this modern run-it-up style might work for the first several runs, the games played, highlights made, and championships secured all eventually blur together, turning the excitement of those first title wins old much too soon. Don't get me wrong, the runs are still undoubtedly enjoyable in short bursts, but they also turn the simple joys of playing and winning into a mass-produced good, a thing practically given rather than earned. That means I was usually ready to pack up and head home before the lights were too low to see the rim. But these runs are still undoubtedly enjoyable in short bursts, and I'm eager to see how future updates might pull me back in for a few more. For more on this year's sports games, check out our reviews of WWE 2K26 or MLB The Show 26. And for everything else, stick with IGN.